Howdy, everybody. Welcome back to Super Robot Wars R. Today's going to be another Nuts and Bolts episode. I believe it's number 3. I want to take a look at a couple things. So, we ran into that issue with the Distortion field before, where it was not reducing damage by about a third. It was just fully negating it. And last Nuts and Bolts, we also learned about potential a little bit. So I want to try and narrow that down some more, get some like harder values and lines on both how much damage it is reducing and how much accuracy it is adding. So Distortion field first. I wanted to wait till this stage to do it because we have a number of enemies that just have Distortion field available to us. I should also have scanned all of these beforehand, but that's fine. We can just scan one. Okay, so this unit does in fact have Distortion field. So let's get its stats down. We'll start with just like a regular attack test. We've got 1500 armor. It has an A in space. This space tile offers nothing. This is just open space, and our AI has how much defense? 158 and 100 morale. Okay. Who's going to be our attacker? Let's have Zex. What are we attacking with? Sure. The Heat Rod. That's 3,900 power. This has an A in space. And then his melee is 191. And he has 100 morale, because this is still the beginning of the stage. So, theoretically, this should be doing 3,143 points of damage. Assuming it hits. We can also do that. You know what? I am going to save state here. Just because we're probably going to do that a couple of times, and I'd rather not have to look back. I really don't want to have to keep redoing that. Okay, so we want 3,143 damage. Oh, but we did crit. Okay. We need to not crit, which might be a problem with who you're using. Okay, 3,000. Okay, that did 3,143 damage. Let's go over to here. You can see 3,143 damage. So, Distortion field is working as intended. Now the trouble is, we need to find a way to do damage considerably less. Like we need to try and figure out a way to get it to eat up the damage. So let's reload here. I don't want it to have that much damage on it. Not that we don't have other test subjects, but I feel like the Rock-High Loop is maybe our best possible option for doing little damage. So let's get Quattro close. Just because we want to get accuracy on this too. This doesn't mean anything if we miss. Do we have... No, he does not have bullseye. Okay. Yeah. We need to put in his stats to know what we're supposed to be doing. Okay. Bright, for some reason, has a melee stat, despite the fact that he cannot use a melee attack ever. I think it would just, like, it'd be weird if they just sort of, like, lined it out, but it is a little odd. Okay, so according to my calcs, this should be doing 865 points of damage. That did considerably less. Why is that? Okay. Let's check everything. This has an A in space. I have 1600 entered. This is shooting. He used 172 for shooting. Huh. And I reloaded the state, so none of these values should have changed. I don't believe that it's size that matters here. I do recall testing for size before. Like, these units are small. Okay, the Combattler's large. Let's have the Combattler test and make sure. Right, so what I want to try and do is we attack with Zex before. He's a medium-sized unit against a small-sized unit. We're gonna have the Combattler attack that same unit. Actually, well, no, they're all literally the same right now. These are all identical, so there's no reason to change states. Let's make sure that it still has all the same information, but it should. 100 morale, 1,150 armor, 158 defense. Okay. Oh, what type of attack is that? A melee attack. So we need 197 power. We need 100 morale, and that was 3,700. And that is an A in space. So this should be doing 3,008 damage. Oh, but it crit. Okay, hold on. Nope. Stop. We keep critting too much. We should also figure out how crit interacts with Distortion Field at some point, too. Okay, let's try this again. 3,008 damage. So that... Okay. We wanted to test this because the Combattler is one size larger than the Talgeese. So size does not seem to play a part in damage here. Unless being extra large changes something, so we should try the Ditarn out then too. Like, maybe there's just a damage penalty on the extra large units. That could be an option. Okay, so that is everything set normally. We need a bullseye. We are going to be attacking with ranged. So that's 159. I believe that was 1,800, but we'll check again when we get close. Turn this off. That is 1,800. That is ranged. And that is an A in space. So this is projected to do 635 points of damage. The Ditarn... Oh, wait. Hold on. Hold on. The Die Fighter is not extra large. Okay. We will need to commence next turn, which is fine. We'll have more subjects closer. I can't think of any other unit that is extra large that isn't a battleship. But at the very least, we have one out right now, so we may as well. The only trouble is we can't test super small right now. the only super small unit we get access to is the Valkyrie, and the Valkyrie cannot move in space because it is a motorcycle. As cool as that would be, and as much as some Space Ninja action games might say otherwise. Oh, I hope this does not lead to a secondary problem of the equation being wrong then for damage. Okay, so let's check this again. This unit has 100 morale. The robot has 100, the AI has 158 defense. The unit has 1,150 armor. We are going to use melee now. So we are up to 2,200 power. That's an A in space. And we need to switch to Banjo's melee stat, which is 189. We'll bullseye that. We also want to save state here. Because if we crit again, I don't want to have to watch all that. I was thinking about it. There we go. Nope. Okay. Did we crit? No. 1,272 points of damage. My calculator says 71. I am not stressed about the 1 point of damage difference because of how things round. It just is going to happen that way. That is, to me, close enough. How values get rounded where is, like, not consistent, but I'm not going to stress 1 point. I said the same thing twice. Okay, so it's just something goofed up with the white base, with the Rakai Loom then, in terms of doing damage. So let's try another one of these, and we'll just keep re-rolling until we get a clean hit. Is it because he's in? Is he in the leadership? But surely that would make you do less damage. I don't. Hold on. Before we start firing, let's start like talking through some ideas. Maybe this is inherent. This is an inherent downside to battleships that I'm unaware of. Maybe there is something to do with the fact that it's like melee style property, right? Like they're bullets that can get shot down. So maybe Distortion Field reduces that even greater. I should have looked what value the damage was and then saw if that was like, it was a 2/3% reduction or something like that, or like half reduction or something. Thank you for waiting, not that you will have had to. Let's do another Bright test and see what happens. I am going to move Catcher out of the way just to be safe. I know that's not recreating the same situation we had last time, but I think that's a better control than what we did do before. So, we need to make sure this is correct. They've not gained morale weirdly in the middle of this. They shouldn't have, nothing died, but I just want to make sure. That's like the thing with learning, right? The real most important lesson you learn going to college is that everyone with authority does not have authority because they have it in their brains already. It's because they just double check every time. Bright's at 102 morale. Oh, because he got hit twice. It's like, why is that happening? But it's because he got hit twice. And we are attacking for 1,600 power. And we have an A in space. That did 531 points of damage. And this did 531 points. Though the Distortion Field says 531. I must have been looking at the critical damage before. Here, we've got 531 right here. I think I was just looking at the critical damage. I think I just looked one high. Okay. Well, that's good. So does the damage have to be below 500 for it to get negated? Like, what's the lowest possible damage we can do? Bright's at 172. Food Psyche is at 200. We've got Rain here. She might have worse stats. She has 172 for her damage. Okay. Well, we're going to use this one because it's not been damaged yet. Rain is at 100 morale. Nope. She has 172 ranged damage. And we're going to use the Vulcans for only 1,000 power. I'm not sure how much less we can conjure up here. Okay, this... My calculator says this will be doing negative damage at this point, so this should get eaten, let's see. Well, actually, okay, sorry, hold on. Before that, it is worth noting that if you were to do damage, and there is something preventing you from doing... Hold on, that's not the right way to describe it. The lowest amount of damage you can ever deal is 10. Irrespective to what the calculator says, you can't deal 0. The smallest amount is 10. So this should deal 10 if this doesn't get eaten. If this deals 10, it doesn't eat damage. The Distortion Field doesn't eat damage based on... It doesn't eat damage based on a damage threshold. It probably is going to do it based on gravity weapons. We'll see. Okay, right, sorry. The lowest damage... the Distortion Field is the only way to get a lower amount than that. I should have known this because I already knew this fact. That, in fact, the Distortion Field can make it do 7 because it is... The game is applying 10 points of damage, and then an ability is checking afterwards to reduce it down to 7. This also happens if you have Distortion Field and Persist on at the same time. I believe... not Shirahoshi. Shiratori can manage that too. I believe he has Persist and not Tsukumo. No? Tsukumo is his first name. Who's the... Is it Tsukiyomi? The other guy that comes from the Prince of Darkness movie. He's got long hair. He also survives in an Elstrom area. You know the one. Maybe you don't. That's okay. Not important. So anyway. So, knowing this, that means that the Distortion Field does not deny damage based solely on a damage value. So it's got to be something to do with it being a gravity weapon. So let's check this for next turn. That's the bottom option that I wanted. There's so many of them. It's gonna take so long. I'm so sorry. I mean, you came for a chill video, though, so hopefully this is, like, not bothersome. There's nothing interesting to say. We're just move it along. This would theoretically... I don't know if this would be easier if we were the ones that had the Distortion Field. I typically like attacking the thing that I want to see the effect of. I feel like I've got more control over it that way rather than waiting for enemies to attack me. Okay. Now, where did the Nadeshiko go? Right here. So, this missile should not be any different. Are we in... We are also in a leadership range, just in case that does, in fact, impact it, and I was remembering poorly what I was looking at on the calculator. So, let's try... Let's try with a missile first. Whatever you'd like. Thank you. I was thinking about it for a while. So we want 1,600 power. We are an A in space. This is ranged. This is, yeah, so it, for all battleships only have ranged options. Jamil, it makes sense for him to have a melee stat because you will later put him into, you have the potential to put him into something that is melee focused, or at least has a melee option. Okay, that's entirely unhurt, so that's the same stats as before. We have saved a state. Let's see how much this is supposed to do. 441 points of damage. This dealt 441 points of damage. Okay. I wanted to make sure that it was not like a debuff associated with like Nadeshiko units in general. I don't know why it would, but who heckin' knows? We need to, from here, test a gravity-based weapon. The game does not tell you which weapons are gravity-based. You just have to know. I mean, sorry, it does tell you. It's in the name of it, but it does not highlight that gravity is a unique principle to that weapon, like how there's an M for map attacks or P for post-movement. Which is also, which, to be fair, is not unique to gravity weapons. It also doesn't tell you the, like, missiles are physical, for instance, that can be destroyed by shoot down or sword cut. We're probably going to end up rerolling this one a lot because this only has a 30% accuracy. Though I guess we could get some leadership around her to make that a little bit better now knowing that that isn't actually adjusting anything. Not that it should have. This is 2700 power. This is the weakest one we've got. Well, we could use the map attack, but that's going to be harder to get available to us. So let's move right here. Gives us a little bit better accuracy. Okay. 53. Yeah, that's... You know, 53 ain't bad. We're probably going to have to reroll a couple of times. Actually, we should also turn on animations, because I recall seeing a, like, distortion field pop up and then, like, a shattering animation. So let's see if that happens. This should do 1,509 damage. 1,509 damage if the distortion field activates correctly. Once more. Nope. This does work, I promise. I have tried this before. These do get re-rolled. We're just rolling badly. When I was testing for the abilities that activate on like attacks, the ones that let you dodge at a certain % chance, I would re-roll these and we were getting different results each time. So the value is not checked. None of the values are checked until you turn on the screen. Okay, the combat action. Okay. So that distortion field fully blocked that damage. That was 1,509 damage. So that's interesting. That means... it is about gravity damage. We just need to figure out where the gravity damage gets high enough where that doesn't matter. And I know of only one way to do this. Let's see if you all see this. You do not. Okay, we're going to pause the game for a second. I have typed up some stuff. Oh, okay. Could you open that screen for me? Thank you. I've typed up some stuff for this game while I was trying to learn some more data. And I have the ability to set pilots levels up between level 1 to level 55 and also level 99. If I wanted to, I could go in and quick set it to whatever value I wanted. I could adjust it quick and make it be any level, but for now we're going to keep it at 99. This won't adjust the enemy levels because enemy levels are only checked at the beginning of a scenario. So we're going to start at 99 and see if it breaks from here. I want to start something ludicrous and extreme, because if this can't break it, then it needs to be a much higher damage value. But if this does break through, then we also can move right here and save state here, because we're going to keep doing that. Not yet. Oh, we also don't need to do that anymore, because we now have a ton of accuracy. That's fine, because we're going to keep adjusting the level, so we might lose that. So, now we are here. Great. Right, so if this doesn't break through, then we still aren't doing enough damage. We can try Love afterwards to see if Valor makes a difference. This should be dealing 2,218 damage. So is the threshold 2,000? And I figure we can work our way down and see exactly at what point, as we reduce her stats by 1 every time, if this does break. Okay. But we did crit. We did crit for 3,696 damage, I believe. Hold on. I don't know why I wasn't prepared for that. We're gonna have to watch that again. I apologize. Let's just double check. So, here. 3,696.875. We're not gonna worry about that. It gets rounded off. So 3,696 damage. I'm pretty sure that's what the crit did. If we don't crit again, then oh well. But you did see, like, the distortion field did come up and we did go through it. That didn't stop it. 3,697. So that got rounded up. That's fine. So if we do, quote, pierce the distortion field, then we get to fully ignore the damage. Is that true for every weapon type, or is that only true for gravity weapons? Are gravity weapons like an all or none situation where there is an amount that they do where it fully ignores it, and there's an amount that they can deal, and it fully gets activated by it. So what we'll have to test afterwards is if we can set a unit's damage value so high that they can theoretically pierce the distortion field. So like having the Combattler and the Voltace next to each other and have it use its super attack on like a Soul or on a Valor. But we'll worry about that in a second. So this is going to drop her stats considerably. I just have 55 queued up, but let's see what the 55 does it. I'm concerned we're going to keep critting because of how much higher our skill is. So I don't have a way of like looking at that really easily. So let's see 55. And then work our way down. So this should be dealing 1,773 damage. If this hits normally without a crit. With a crit, it's 2,954 or 295. Yeah, 2,954. The trouble is, I think we were just crossing the threshold before without a crit, but okay, we're still critting for 2,955. That's fine. Then, given that, we're gonna jump our stats down. Okay, let's talk this out. We want to jump our stats down to make it such that this crit value is hitting 2,000. But I think that is lower. Yeah, that is lower than where we started before. So the trouble is that we keep critting. I don't know how to solve that problem. All right, let's just fiddle around with these numbers and see what we look at. What's 200 put us at? 205. You can also see in me doing this that your stats do not adjust damage really all that much. Okay, so it's between 207 and 208 that we cross that 2,000 point damage threshold. Maybe we just keep rolling on that and seeing if... So we want her 208, if we can. Maybe we'll just keep rolling on that and seeing if that doesn't crit. So what is her stats at? What are her stats at now? 185. So she needs to go up 23 And if we reload, the little thing I wrote is still active, so it'll just reset it once as soon as we reload the state. 2688. That's not good. That doesn't make sense for any of the numbers. Hold on, we gotta check everything again. Okay, we got 209, we got 100 morale. $158. 1150. If we're doing... Oh, actually, hold on. Okay, so if we are doing distortion field damage, it's 2016. If we're critting, it's 3359. But if we ignore the distortion field, it's doing 2687. So, right, I think we broke it, and we didn't crit. Oh, right, because I was looking at trying to hit 2,000 with the distortion field damage, but that's not what we need. We need to be 2,000 as the final damage value. 2688. We were 2687. Okay, yeah, we got that. Okay. So, we need... So was 55 right then? Did we just have it correct before? Okay. What are our stats at 55? It's 185. So we got a lucky crit here. If this should also go through and do 2363 or 2364. I maybe one or two of you are screaming at me in the comments right now. And then 2955 if we crit. Yeah, okay. About rounding up or rounding down. The game I have found is practically always rounding down at most every juncture. I don't know why in this final damage value it has seemed to round up once or twice. Pretty exclusively rounded up for all this damage because my calc says 2954.375, and that rounded that to 2955. But in every other case, it is rounding down. I have had it to the point where I had an experience value. Oh yeah, sorry, an average. I was trying to figure out an average level. Well, that's interesting. I was trying to figure out an average, trying to figure out the level averages, and I had it to the point where my level was like 29.9999 or something, and it still rounded that down to 29. Which is not to say that level and damage can't use different equations, but it is also true in the damage calcs that it pretty much always rounds down. Okay, so that did not hit. That bounced off fully. And we were supposed to deal 2363. So is the threshold 2500? Actually, hold on, we should stay on this one. So then we can move this up. So let's do 190. 195. Okay, 196. So we do actually need to get these precise then. So 195 is 10 levels up. So at 65, okay, we can do that. I don't know why I closed that hex calculator. I mean, I do know why. It's because I was ambitious and wanted us to be right the first time. So right now, for 55, we are using 6978. 6978. That is 27,000 points of experience, and we need to get 10 levels, which adds 5,000 points of experience. So the value we would like is 32,000, please. Decimal to hex. 2,000. And that is 7D00. How do I select nothing? I don't want to add to any of these. Oh, okay. I can just click add a new set first. That's how we do it. Okay. Okay. This is 7000. Let's make sure the D is capitalized. I don't think that matters, but... So this should put us to 65. Great. And then we want to do just one. 7E F4. F4. Okay, and this should put us to 66. Great, 65 first. That has us at 195. So if the prediction is correct, which is to say... No, I'm also not on the game screen. This should be actually, well, you saw it for a bit, but let's point it out. We should be, our final damage unadjusted is 2,498 damage. Even rounding up, that's 2,499. So, and that is to say, if we do end up doing exactly 2,500, we can just go down a level. But I believe what that means, what we're trying to see here is if the 2,500 threshold is the real threshold. If this bounces off, then we can check the next level up, and then that should helpfully tell us. And just also not crit. That bounced. That's kind of what we wanted to see. And then this goes to 196. And we turn on level 66. I don't know why I'm renaming these as if these are going to stay. Let's make sure we are 66. Yes, we are. That should be 196 ranged. And this should be doing 2,512 damage if we don't crit. V for victory. Let's go. Hopefully we've defeated this distortion field situation. Well, we crit, so that doesn't help. We'll just keep throwing them. Maybe the animation is unnecessary, but it feels significant to me to see it go through the distortion field, just in case there's some other weirdness happening. Also, actually, that worked out perfectly. So we can see that the roll for all elements of combat are happening as soon as you hit confirm on the attack command. Right, because like he dodged. No, we're gonna keep critting, aren't we? How long would you like to stay here and watch me crit this same robot over and over and over again? We've only done it twice, but... What is it? Oh, how has it been 44 minutes already? Good gracious. I guess it hasn't actually been that long for y'all. I'm gonna chop out probably not that much. I'm probably gonna chop out like maybe a minute. We did spend a long time getting into position though, getting to the spot where we need to like... We spent a lot of time getting to the spot where we found out that it was just the gravity weapons. I can't make this any better. The leadership doesn't stack. I mean, okay. The leadership doesn't stack it. And I don't have any better leadership on anybody. I could theoretically move her closer, but... I also can't make Bright one level and her another level. We did 25-13. That is exactly the amount we wanted. Well, we were doing 25-12 according to my counts. But again, 1 point is not... I'm not worried about 1 point. That, to me, is as close as we're getting to saying that 2,500 is the threshold. So... let's adjust this in the appendix. What we have learned is the distortion field costs 10 energy to use, reduces incoming non-gravity damage by 1/3. Gravity weapons are fully blocked. What is this? I don't think... Is there anything on this that is revealing? Who knows? Gravity weapons are fully blocked below 2,500 damage. Gravity weapons ignore distortion field above, or at and above 2,500 damage. I guess I am saying at. We did not test literally the value 2,500, but I'm willing to make that assumption if someone wants to come back and tell me that at 2,500 it still gets blocked, and at 2,501 then it doesn't. Please, I will happily accept that information. Critical hits are taken into account before the distortion field damage reduction. Because we do want to note, somehow that that if you crit, and your crit would put you above 2,500, but not critting is below 2,500, that the crit would make you ignore the distortion field. Okay. So with that, the other thing we want to test is, can we break it by other means? So we want to Valor up, or not Valor. Well, I mean, we will eventually, but we want to willpower up for now. Does anybody else have a way of doing this? Here's another willpower. Here's a Valor. What are we looking at? We're at 150. Can someone dedication onto us? Actually, we can dedication onto ourselves. Psyche can do it. Where is it? There. Okay, there's that willpower. We will probably need a bullseye in here. So now we're just trying to get our damage like as high as I could possibly think. We'll also set to level 99 too. You just need to be at a high morale to be able to pull off the attack. We also don't care about 2 instances of damage, like for instance from a support attack, so that doesn't matter in this case. I don't think they have 3 morale bots. No, they do not. We're close. Actually, yeah, their morale now, it doesn't matter. We don't have to get it to 150. We just need to... We just need to have them at the morale threshold to get this weapon off. So we do have the larger bonus, the rivalry bonus, the 1.15 times. Actually, I don't even have a good spot for that on here. I will probably adjust this calculator after making some of these additions, because there's definitely some elements here that I've not included, which is not helpful. Yeah, we valored up already, so this is going to... we need to set our level. Remove all of these, load the level set. We're at level 99. Okay. We are doing 6,800. We have a stat total of 246 melee. We have 150 morale. We have an A in space. He's got... Oh, let's use a fresh one. That one's fresh. 100 morale. 158 defense. And everything else is still the same. We just need to account for the Valor bonus. Or not the Valor bonus, the Rivalry bonus. I actually don't know where... That's interesting. I actually don't know where that comes into things. I think it is a post-value, a post-calculation bonus, based on what we've done before. Oh, right. On the last video, we did see that we were getting exact results if we were multiplying our final damage value by 1.09. When I was like, why did this not do the damage I thought it was doing? Do you remember that? I'm not explaining this terribly well, but it's not like a specific thing we were testing. It was just, I used the calculator and it didn't come up with the result I wanted. But we took the value and I was multiplying it by 1.15 because I didn't recognize the fire size. But it should have been by 1.09 and we were getting the right answer. So that is being multiplied by the final damage, but I don't know where in terms of Valor it is going. And also how that relates to the distortion field. So I guess we'll figure that out while we're here. Maybe that's all we're going to do today. This video is already long enough. Maybe I'll make Q and then do the potential a second video. So instead what we're going to do is we're just going to write down to this value. And then we're going to see what happens. 20,667. 20,667. The words distortion field did still show up, though I guess they did for the other one. Maybe we should have kept it on to see if it looked like it went through it. No, we know it went. We know that the distortion field still took place because this is not showing 20,667 is not any of these values. So let's see. Well, hold on, we'll prove this. No. Control Shift C? Nope, that's wrong. Control Shift V, there we go. I just want to copy that number over. This is times 2. I did not hit equals. Equals. So these are not the same. So it's not just the distortion. It's the distortion field defense is not. We've not applied Valor on top of the distortion field defense. Though I guess that also isn't working anyway because we're not accounting for the rivalry bonus. So let's go 11980 times 1.15 times 2. Yes, it'd be good if I remembered to make these equations. So this should be doing 27,554 if not for the distortion field. And right now we have this as this value. So put this here again. And then change F2 to 27554. And that gives us exactly that. Okay, perfect. Well, I mean, not exactly. It's one off, but again, same thing. So, it looks like distortion field is taking place pretty much as late as possible. So that also does mean that the rivalry bonus and the Valor bonus are being collected at the same point in the equation. I will adjust on the calculator later. That is where I thought I pretty well knew it was going to be. But, the only thing we've learned from this is that we already were correct. If you don't have gravity weapons, you cannot break the distortion field. Which is what I expected. How long are we? This is 55. Why don't... Actually, you know what? I'll stop here, and you'll know this already, but I'll just post the potential video pretty much back to back with this one. But just to break these up, because this was like almost an hour of doing the same thing, I don't want to bury... If people are only here for figuring out potential, I don't want to bury that an hour into another video. So let's call it here. Thank you everyone for watching. This felt... I can't even say that useful. Distortion Field comes up so infrequently. It is good to know, though. That is, like, kind of relevant. If you just, like, lose a whole turn, that does matter a lot. So that felt relevant. And I believe the Neshko units come back pretty regularly in the 2000s era games. So Distortion Field probably isn't going away. Hopefully that will be the same damage point, or roughly the same damage point, for future. So, I guess it was pretty helpful. So, look forward to the next episode. Again, you never have to watch any of these. I mean, you don't have to watch anything on my channel, but none of the nuts and bolts are ever going to be primary content towards the actual playthroughs we're doing. It's just figuring out these mechanics. If you have suggestions for other things you'd like to see me figure out, even if they are about a game that we have finished playing, so, like, obviously right now that doesn't really check out, but if we move, whatever we move on to next after R, if it, be it Y and or something else, and you're like, oh, I have this thought for R, like, feel free to come back. Like, I'll happily crack something open. I will start keeping a list if people make suggestions for mechanics to look at for games I haven't played yet. Like, if I haven't played them, we're probably not going to do them immediately. I won't have, like, a catalog of something to jump into, but I will keep them in mind for when we do get there. So, toss your ideas my way, and we'll investigate what we can. So speaking of which, let's end this investigation and jump immediately into a next one. I will see you in the potential video all, hopefully. Take care.